Alright, welcome back to 100 hours of Terraria. It's now June 16th. I haven't been able to play for a few days. I had a very busy weekend. When I did get to play, it was with a friend of mine. And I was working on the side world that her and I have been working on together. That's always fun. I've been recording my playthroughs with her as well. But for some reason, this last, 2 hours that I spent playing with her did not record. I know this is recording now, though. Thank goodness for that. Usually what the program I'm using is actually the AMD Radeon Gaming Enhanced app that is available if you're running an AMD Radeon graphics card. It's quite nice. It works fairly well. The quality on it's pretty nice. It's easy to use, and best of all, it's free. It's kind of hard to beat that, honestly. So speaking of today being the 16th, and the AMD cards, I noticed that, well, obviously not noticed, I mean it's been known for a while now, but AMD is going to be making announcements today for their R300 series. And I'm quite excited, although a lot of info has already been leaked. And it seems like the majority of the cards, if not all of the cards in the 300 series, are just going to be rebrands. That's a little bit of a disappointment considering the whole new hardware that they've been talking about, the chips with the HBM on it and everything. I was really hoping for something like that at a decent entry point. And as it stands, I'm only playing on an HD 7970, which is a beautiful card. But I mean, come on, the 280X was a rebrand of the 7970, and a lot of those cards, a lot of the 200s, the R9 200 series, they were all rebrands pretty much to begin with. I think the only new ones were what, the Hawaii architecture. I think the 295X2, I think, was like the new thing. So I think it's unfortunate that they're rebranding so much. I guess we're gonna have to wait for the ones that they're calling the Fury for the completely new chipsets and the HBM. Kinda sucks, but oh well. I'd still probably upgrade to like a 300 series. That's if the price point was well enough and I was ready for an upgrade anyway. As it stands, I think I'm fairly satisfied with what I got. Basically everything that I have played so far, this card handles it pretty well. So I can't complain about it. Also, I'd like to just throw out there too that Terraria isn't the only game that I'm really into. It's one of my favorite games, but probably one of the other things right now that really stands out to me is the role-playing game series Final Fantasy. Now, I'm a big role-playing game fanatic. I love RPGs the most. Like Fallout 4 was just announced. I'm very excited about that. I've already pre-ordered the game. Hopefully I'll get my hands on the Pip-Boy edition. I've pre-ordered the Pip-Boy edition. If I can justify the price, then I'm definitely going to get that. Fallout 3 was simply incredible. I didn't like New Vegas as much. But it's still Fallout 4. I'm excited for that. Hopefully it doesn't suffer on launch as much as previous Bethesda games have. Now moving back to the Final Fantasy thing, that is my favorite role-playing game series. Final Fantasy VII is my favorite game of all time. And I found out last night that a complete, total remake of Final Fantasy VII has been announced. Now, I've been waiting for this for a very long time. My mind is blown because Square has been putting it off for so long now. They kept saying they were doing it, then they weren't doing it. They were doing it, they weren't doing it. They kept teasing the hell out of everybody with it. And now it's finally actually confirmed that they're doing it. I'm just wondering how long it's going to take before it actually does come out. I mean, either way, it's not like I'm at a shortage of other amazing games to play. And I've already been through Final Fantasy VII no less than 10 times. I've played it that much. I have bought the game, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. I've had 3 different copies of the original disc-based PlayStation 1 version. I bought it on PlayStation Network to play it on my PlayStation 3 and my PSP without having to worry about wearing out the disc that I have. I bought the Steam version last year, I think, when it came out. So I've certainly bought my fair share of copies of Final Fantasy VII. I've played it at least 10 times. And when I say play it at least 10 times, I mean like full playthroughs from start to finish, beating it. There's only 3 things that I have yet to accomplish in the game. The first one would actually be to max out the enemy skill material, which for some reason seems a little ridiculous to try and pull off. If you miss certain spots, you miss it, and you're kind of SOL. And the other things that I have not done yet are, and I know a lot of people are going to shake their head at me for this, I actually have not yet beaten Ruby and Emerald Weapon. And believe me, after seeing a couple videos on YouTube recently, I've realized just how silly that sounds. But for the most part, I have a really good reason. I've always had difficulty actually getting the final attack materia. The final attack materia, there's only like one way of getting it, and that's getting it through the Chocobo races. At one point, if you play enough, you're given one as a gift. The one playthrough that I spent serious amount of time playing through that, and I should have gotten it as a gift, I unfortunately did not get it because I had too much materia in my inventory, and if your inventory is full of materia, then any new materia you get is automatically discarded. That's why I didn't get it in that one playthrough. Otherwise, I probably would have pulled it off then, and every other playthrough that I've done, pulling that off wasn't exactly high on my priority list. Sooner or later, I will do another playthrough, probably the Steam version, and I probably will record it, and I will make sure that I pull off these 3 things that I have yet to pull off. So I can finally say once and for all that I've pretty much done everything in Final Fantasy VII. But still, like I said, I'm very excited about that. It's amazing that we're finally going to get a full remake of it. It's honestly, I feel like it's overdue. Maybe after they're done with that, maybe Square Enix can actually give us something else. Like, I don't know. A lot of people were calling for a remake of Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VI is really good. It is a really, really good Final Fantasy game. And, you know, it probably actually does deserve a remake. I can agree with that. Definitely. I think maybe 9, 8 and 9 are also a little underrated. I know a lot of people say that 8 is their favorite, and they actually spend a lot of time hating on 7 because of it. People do the same thing with 9 too. They say 9's their favorite, then they hate on 7, and sometimes they hate on 8 too. It's unfortunate. They're all good games. I can understand why they're not the best for some people, why they're not some people's favorites. Not a problem. Totally understand it. Not a big deal. I pretty much own every Final Fantasy game. I have beaten almost every single one of them, except for like maybe the first 3 in the series. And I'm not counting the online ones, 11 or 14 either, because those two are just a lot to get into. That's not just a game you're buying, that's an investment, because you're not just forking out the cash for the game itself, but you also have to sit there and pay all that extra money, and you have to do everything online, and it's a very intense, very time-consuming and wallet-consuming process. I briefly played 11 and I did enjoy it, but you know, sometimes I'd like to go back, but that's a whole other thing. For 8, I liked 8. I really wish that the one thing that I didn't like as much about 8 that I wish would have been different was the junctioning system. Final Fantasy VII, the materia system, was like one of the best subsystems in the Final Fantasy games. You still leveled up, your character still got stronger that way, you still found equipment, but you also had materia that you leveled up and did everything with that too. And materia was just great. I really didn't like the junctioning system in 8 because it felt like all my most powerful spells and everything that I had that were actually worth something, I had to junction them to characters to gain the stat improvements. Leveling didn't feel as intensive, like it didn't mean as much. And on top of that, it felt like you were actually penalized for using any magic. Any of the best spells that you wanted to use, you had to carefully weigh out whether or not it was worth using versus losing the stat boost that it gave you. And that is what I did not like about it. Otherwise, the game was pretty nice. I did like it. I've played through Final Fantasy VIII twice. I will say my favorite part of Final Fantasy VIII, we'll go on record with this, is the train sequence. The train sequence was totally badass. It was like the best thing in the game. And every once in a while I actually go on YouTube and I take a look at a video of the train sequence just for the hell of it. For Final Fantasy IX, the reason why 9 is one of my favorites is probably because 9 was like the last one where we really got the traditional fantasy setting. And I've seen a few people talk about this and mention that on Facebook this morning when they were talking about it, and I completely agree with it. 9 is definitely underrated. Yeah, 9 is underrated, and there was just so many things that were nice about 9. I have to say one of my favorite personal things about Final Fantasy IX was the two characters. Well, I like Zidane, the one main character. He was really great. But I liked the interaction between a lot of the characters. Especially, I believe his name is Adalbrecht Steiner, the big knight with the sword, and the little black mage Vivi. The interaction between those two characters was quite interesting, and I especially liked in combat how they could actually work together, and Steiner had a magic blade attack that you could use whenever Vivi was in the party. That was really good. That was one of the key things about the game for me. And I actually get nostalgic thinking about it. Part of me would like to go back and play it again, because it's been a little while. I've only, unfortunately, been through 9 once. 7's obviously the one I've played the most. 8 I've been through twice. 9 I've been through once. 10 I've been through twice. 10-2 I've been through twice. I started a playthrough on the PlayStation 3 version of 10 recently, but I have yet to finish it. Obviously, 10-2 will be following that once I do finish the playthrough. 13 I've been through once. 13, 2, and 3 I've also been through once. 6 is another one I actually have not finished. 1, 2, 3, and 6 I have not finished. I'm in the middle of 3 on the DS. I have not finished it yet, but I'll get around to it eventually. And 6, I have I have the Super Nintendo version sitting around somewhere, and I also have the PlayStation 1 version sitting around somewhere, the Chronicles version, and I wasn't really playing either version, but I had gotten an Android phone like 2 Decembers ago, and I actually stuck a Super Nintendo emulator on there, and I was playing the Super Nintendo version of Final Fantasy 3, or 6 is it really supposed to be, and I had gotten like halfway through, and then I switched phones, and I lost the game save. Yes, that's the second time I tried playing that game and got halfway through and lost the save, so I'm kind of disheartened about that. Eventually, I will make it a point to go and finish it. But there's just too many other games for me to play. So I guess what I'm going to do right now, I've spent the last 20 minutes talking about games that I really enjoy. Wow, that's creeping. Yeah, I'm really gonna have to do something about this, because that's just definitely spending a little bit too much time just sitting there creeping over. there's enemies here that just want to die. I got no problems helping. I really feel like I got cheated on this world. I did turn back on autosave, by the way. I know I was briefly talking about it before. I did turn it back on. Or auto pause, I should say. Sorry. I turned auto pause back on because there was just way too much going on at times, and I know I needed to pause it, and it was just the best thing to do. Just made it. Alright, now this is cleared out. Oops. That's okay, I can take a couple blasts. Not a big deal. It's a good thing the water is the only thing that actually has physics on it, because that tree would not be standing. I realize that the contaminator might actually be the best way to deal with this, but I won't get that for a while. And the thing is that while I'm still fooling around, this thing is still spreading, albeit very slowly. One of the many reasons why I like pickaxes. Kevin's sand is slower to mine than regular sand. Look at that. Kevin's sand's definitely slower. I thought something was off with that. It seemed kind of weird. Cactus was a casualty of mining. Wow, that's a lot of slimes. Here's the deal. Since this stuff tends to spread around the surface, sand, it just randomly spreads through. On the surface where it's regular dirt and whatnot, it'll spread, I believe, up to 2 spaces away. So usually when I'm trying to build things to protect around and not have to worry about it, I usually build a barrier that is about 3 spaces wide, which is why that gray brick I put down earlier is 3 spaces wide. This should actually provide adequate protection from the nasty corruption. Another thing a wall that size will do is it's actually fairly useful at keeping most types of monsters out. Depending on how high it is, zombies won't be able to pass by, which is always great. Those flying things will be able to get by, not a problem, but they're not too hard to deal with anyway. Yes, I like to do that on things like this. Could it be a waste of torches? Yes. But then again, torches are easily obtainable. If you have a crap load of money, just throw some money at the merchant. Or, well, slimes are pretty darn easy to kill, and wood is easy to obtain as well. So it's not like it's not like you'd ever hurt for that. Technically, could never run out of that in a world, I'm sure. And it's nighttime already. How nice. Alright, I guess that must be cleared underneath. Alright, good stuff. I need to pause this for a second. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry about my inactivity there, but I have to say that that was my family, and they needed my help with something. Gaming is important, and it's fun, but it's important to remember that family is also important, too. I can finish what I started here. Yes, I decided to get lazy and use bombs. I'm going to fill in up to here with dirt. After I just hammer the crap out of everything real quick. No, that's clay. Dirt. Back here. Ah. This is as good as this thing is going to get. Come on. Stupid enemies. That's pretty good right there. That is pretty good. That is about what I wanted to pull off. Okay, they can jump higher than I thought. That should do it, though, right there. See what I got here. Oh, I just missed it. I'm gonna buy some more bombs. These things are always useful. Never hurts to have a bunch of them. See what I can turn the rotten chunks into. It's been a little while. Kind of forgot. Battle potion, leather, worm food, mechanical worm. Well, I know what those two do. I will craft some leather and see what I can do with that. I said workbench. Archaeologist pants and jacket. That's really it. Wow. Okay. Well. vanity items it is. I think I need another chest for vanity item or different crafting materials, because those two aren't enough. Well, purification powder. That should be good for something. Ah, yes. I know one thing that I definitely should be working towards right now. Buying that Tinkerer's Workshop from the Goblin. I think that costs 10 gold though. Yeah, I'm not even I'm just halfway there. That's not a whole lot really. Yep. Guide voodoo fish. Wow. Yeah, fishing in boiling lava, no. There's no way that I can pull that off right now. So we're just gonna have to forget about that one until later. I just realized that I have no empty housing right now. Looks like I have to fix that. Let me turn auto pause off for a minute. That's good. just in case somebody else decides that they want to move in. Right now, I forget if there is any more NPCs. I know there's at least a few in hard mode, so it's a little early for that, but still, doesn't hurt to be ready. Alright, good. There we go. Turn auto pause back on. And we're good. Not fighting the Eye of Cthulhu might actually be a good idea. A little early for that right now, but I'll hold on to it. There we go. Ah, okay, there he is. Sometimes it's good to see what he has to offer. Ooh, a zebra skin. As if it looks like it actually will be useful for anything. Now, that's an item to definitely get. Although, I don't have the 10 gold. Looks like I'll just have to wait a little bit. I think it goes without saying that I could use some wood right now. mushroom just randomly pop up out of nowhere. As for my water generator is going to be I haven't really explored too far down there. Alright, since I'm in the halfway point right here, I'm going to call it for the day, for the hour, or yeah. Stumble my words. The hour's passed, so I'm gonna stop here for this hour so I can start up the next one. I'll see you in the next hour.